The Hunt for Red October. Do you like my Sean Connery impression?
Welcome to the Too Old or Pure Gold Movie Podcast. In today's episode, we're discussing the 1990 thriller movie, The Hunt for Red October. The format of our podcast, two Gen Xers rewatch beloved movies from our youth to find out, are they really as good as we remember? To help us debate and ultimately pass judgment, we ask our millennial co-hosts to watch these movies for the first time and help us determine, are they too old or pure gold? I'm your host, Olen Vanderleeden, representing Gen X. Joining me today is my Gen X co-host, Matthew Stockton.
Hi, everybody.
Representing the millennials, we have musician Clef Seeley.
Howdy.
And we have Sean.
Hello.
Not Connery. And before we get into this episode, just a reminder that we need your support to grow the podcast. So please remember to like, subscribe, comment, follow us on social media, and please recommend us to a friend. Today's movie is the 1990 thriller movie, The Hunt for Red October, starring Sean Connery, Alec Baldwin, and Scott Glenn. The movie is directed by John McTiernan. This is the director of Die Hard and Predator, so I had high hopes going in. And, of course, one of the draws for this movie is the fact that it was written by Tom Clancy, a spy thriller master, apparently. Now, the tagline and the movie description, I think, are the best we've had yet, so get ready for this. The tagline from the movie poster is, "The hunt is on." And IMDb describes the movie as, in November 1984, the Soviet Union's best submarine captain violates orders and heads for the U.S. in a new, undetectable sub. The American CIA and military must quickly determine, is he trying to defect or start a war? Pretty good, right? And for those of you that have not seen the movie, I asked my 93-year-old dad to watch The Hunt for Red October and summarize the plot.
In the middle of the Cold War, there was a technically advanced submarine named the Red October under the command of a Soviet captain, Marco Ramius. Now, the details of his order were secret. The U.S. Dallas had been sent to keep an eye on the Red October. When the Dallas gets closer to the Red October, they lose track of her because the October deployed a high-tech soundless propulsion device. Actually, very interesting. I looked at it. Yeah, it even exists. However, a sonar technician on board of the Dallas finds another way to locate the Red October, and Agent Jack Ryan convinces the captain of the U.S. Dallas to contact the captain, Ramius. And Ramius confirms that indeed he wants to defect. So the agent Ryan ends up in the Red October in order to assist with the defection. Okay, this all happens, but not smoothly. First, there is a fight on board with a saboteur, a cook. Also, another Soviet submarine arrives. And then there's a torpedo battle going back and forth, and it results in it sinking. So the crew think it's their own sub, and they applaud the captain for being a hero, remaining on board with the sinking ship. However, they're still afloat, and all is well, and they were safely taken to the state of Maine. And that's the end.
Okay, not bad, right?
Not too bad.
Okay, so what did you guys think of this movie?
So I think that if you're not into submarine movies, like I'm not, I think I shared this back when we were doing The Thing, where I thought The Thing was sort of like a submarine movie because it's all closed in. I'm not into submarine movies, and if you're not as well, I think this one will drag. If your idea of action is watching two men stare at a sonar screen and nod grimly, well, buckle up because this one's for you. But if you are into submarine movies, this is the submarine movie to watch. But overall, I think that this movie is, and I'm going to trademark register this, dad cinema. Put it on, crack a beer, and fall asleep halfway through, insisting that you're just resting your eyes.
Well, that is a great description.
Dad cinema. That's a good one. Yeah, it kind of washes over you.
Notice I have more to say about
name
the first
5
half.
submarine movies.
Sorry, Clef, go.
Sorry, name 5 submarine movies. I can't think of another
Boot.
submarine movie.
Das
say again?
Boot.
Das Boot.
There's the one about the Kursk in Russia with the nuclear one.
There's Beatles, Yellow Submarine.
Oh, there's tons of them.
Oh, well, okay, Yellow Submarine. Yeah, fair enough. I couldn't even think of one. I was sort of on the fence with this one. I think I warmed up to it as I was watching. I think I started off with sort of this like uncertainty. It felt a little slow at first. I was noticing a lot of like set design that seemed to me like used and reused, a lot of shots taken at the same angle.
Well, they're in a submarine, aren't they? Not many angles.
Well, fair enough. But use the whole submarine then. I don't know. But what I will say is I thought it was a really interesting combination genre-wise of like if I think about galactic sort of sci-fi, if I think about like sort of spaceship stuff like that, but then I also think about like maybe classic naval war movies, Master and Commander comes to mind. I think about that kind of combination. This was an interesting angle for that. I liked how Sean Connery's character sort of weaves in and out of being good guy, bad guy. So there were things about this movie that I liked. I hate Alec Baldwin as an actor. I always have. And the idea of him as Jack Ryan was probably my least favorite thing about this movie. Yeah, that's kind of where I was at with it.
Well, mine's simple. I loved this movie.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I guess, Sean, you fall into that pretty soon, that dad category, right?
Yeah.
I guess you like dad cinema. Okay, well...
You get one cat and you're a dad?
My journey with this was interesting. I'm just going to say I was pleasantly surprised because I remember this movie as being boring when I saw it in the theater. I looked at it and I saw a 130-minute long movie about Russian submarines, and I thought, dear God, what have I agreed to with this episode? But honestly, like, it was good. Like, it kept me interested for the 135 minutes. I thought the story was interesting. I thought they did a great job of I was worried this was going to be complicated and hard to follow, but they made it nice and simple for guys like me. I mean, normally, we've done a lot of Russian-based movies in this podcast, funny enough, and I always need Matthew to explain them to me. This one, I think I got it on my own.
Yeah, I liked the switch over from speaking English. I liked how they did that, how they started off like setting the tone with 5 minutes of just all Russian dialogue. And I thought to myself, are they really going to have Sean Connery speaking Russian the whole time? And then he switches, and then I realized, at first I thought maybe they were both double agents or something. That was the first thing that crossed my mind. Are they, when they're having the conversation together, when he's having the conversation with a political officer at the beginning, but then when he gets on the phone and he starts speaking English, then I realized, okay, that's the flip. The dialogue is going to be English.
He murdered that guy very easily, didn't he?
Very easily.
Just
mean.
And he really, he really took a chance. Like, he really relied on the fact that all of his Russian compatriots would just not rat on him.
I mean, when you're a captain of a vessel, you're a god on that vessel. You're pretty good.
I mean, but even if the captain murders somebody?
Yeah, that's very much the classic naval approach.
Damn.
On a ship, the captain is god.
Well, before we dig too much deeper, I just wanted to talk about the cast. Like, for an early 90s movie, crazy good cast. I mean, I hear what you're saying, Clef, about Alec Baldwin, but he's a big star now. Sean Connery, Sam Neill, Tim Curry, James Earl Jones, and those are just the main characters. Like, what a powerhouse cast.
It was very well cast. My biggest complaint was Alec Baldwin. He's the kind of the main weight that pulling this whole thing down for me.
Yeah. Matthew and Sean, what did you think of Alec Baldwin?
I don't really have an issue with him. I don't go, oh, yay, Alec Baldwin's in a movie, but I wouldn't avoid him.
What about Sean Connery, though? Because that's really the
there's
conversation.
so many actors that are available. I don't know why you have to pick a Baldwin.
Well,
Yeah.
Sean Connery's phenomenal. When he decides he wants to act, like...
Well, is this after Harrison Ford playing Jack Ryan?
No, this is before.
This is before. So he's the first movie
He's
Jack
the first
Ryan?
movie Jack Ryan. I mean, this is the first Jack Ryan movie, too. Like, this is the first book. This is the first...
Then they were wise to switch to Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you... Okay, I'll spoil the trivia on that one. So they wanted Harrison Ford for this movie. He said no. They got Alec Baldwin. Then they went to do the sequel, which is Patriot Games. And they offered it to Alec Baldwin, but he said, I wanted more money. To which the director said, for that much money, I can get Harrison Ford. So he cast Harrison Ford.
So you just start where you plan on finishing off.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I
Clef,
think of
back
it.
to your point about Sean Connery. First of all, I just want to say for all you millennials out there that think 60 is old, that's 60. But what a good-looking man! Like,
What a good-looking
holy
man.
shit, and what a powerful
Holy
presence.
shit.
I'm probably not the best judge of men, but I feel like Sean Connery is a guy who looked better as he got older.
For sure. For sure. I mean, he looks great. Matthew, give us a little help here. What do you think of 60-year-old Sean Connery?
Sean Connery is really not my type.
Oh, I think
He's a good actor, but I wouldn't fuck him.
if I was gonna
That's fair.
look, if I was gonna turn gay at 60, or if I do, Sean Connery's my type.
If I do, I love that you're leaving that open as an option. Should I tell your wife that? Don't come knocking on my door.
She loves Sean Connery too. She probably wouldn't fault
See,
me.
for me, it's more of like a familial thing. Like, I want Sean Connery to be my dad, you know? Like, he's got that kind of...
Yeah,
presence.
I'd let him be my dad, but not my daddy.
That's true.
I just want to hear him talk more.
I mean, I don't think
He needs to narrate things.
He needs to narrate things.
he should narrate things, but I'm still going to go out on a limb and say that my dad is better for doing plot summaries than Sean Connery could be.
Have you tried?
I've not. I'll have to resurrect him and give it a shot.
Yeah, please get on that.
We should ask Peter to do a Sean Connery voice, see if he can do it.
Maybe Peter's going to pull an Alec Baldwin and he's going to say, now that you guys are successful with this podcast, I want more money. And then I can say, for that money, I can get Sean Connery. If he wasn't dead. Okay, for context, Matthew, you can probably tell us more about this, but when this film started production, the Cold War was still on. When it was released, the Soviet government had announced that the Communist Party was no longer in charge.
I confirm that.
Thanks, Matthew.
I'm sorry, you caught me off guard. You usually have so much to say about Russia that I left 10 minutes in the script for you to go on about that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah,
No,
this is the time of perestroika and glasnost. Yeah, so there you go.
Okay, good. Thanks.
I felt like this movie had like a really negative portrayal of Russians. Like, Russians were extremely expendable in this film.
Well, that's what everyone thought of Russians back then, right?
Yeah.
But they seemed expendable to each other. Is that accurate, Matthew? Do you think in
Yes,
this era?
yes. When the Russians fight a war, they will just keep throwing bodies at it. We saw that in World War II. We see that in Ukraine. They just march them to their death. Life is cheap, according to the Russian government.
But what about this movie gives you that impression? Because I will agree that is in a lot of movies about the Soviet Union. But what about this one?
Okay, so it started off with how, so you've already acknowledged, like, you know, if the captain were to kill somebody, you know, okay, so that's like God's law, sure, on the boat. But I just couldn't imagine that being portrayed in a positive light with the Americans. Like, the Americans, it did seem to me throughout, were portrayed as being sort of more honest and more willing to break ranks, for example, in order to willing to make like large inferences about reasoning and willing to follow this. Okay, this is the projection, this is the track that the Red October is going based on, sort of not a hunch, but an educated guess, versus the Russians who are willing to basically follow Sean Connery right down to we're all going to die. He's making the right calls, but they feel like guesses. And even when there start to be doubts among, the inner crew, Ramius's inner crew, they still all seem to just fall in line and seem to be willing to acknowledge that this is going to be the end. And then at the end, they all get released onto lifeboats, and that does seem to be at first like an honorable thing. But then they end up just getting sent back to the Soviet Union, and he ends up getting asylum. Ramius ends up getting asylum, and so there's just this sort of aspect of like, he built a career around training these crews and working on these submarines and being the captain, and now he's got this weapon, and he realizes, okay, this is just going to bring about World War III, so I'm just going to defect. And it's going to come at the cost of anything that goes in the way. So it just seemed to me like a portrayal, a very distinct portrayal of like bodies are expendable. And the Americans seemed to not have that, or that seemed to be a distinction that they would make up until the end when James Earl Jones disarms the torpedo.
So,
that was the point where it seemed like, okay, now they're acknowledging that maybe there's some other hybrid submarine warfare stuff going on.
Couple of retorts to that. One, distinct difference between the captain on a ship and the overall command of a military.
Mm-hmm.
Very big difference between there. So for the Americans, you're talking, higher ups down, right? Where the captains in the field have to make decisions, where within the crew, you're a captain down to crew. Militaries are very weird with how they do discipline. But your thing about the disposable is really interesting to me, because I feel like he picked a very particular, he handpicked as much of the crew as he could for people who would want to defect with him. And despite the fact that all the other crew didn't want to defect and were loyal to the Soviet Union, he still ensured they survived and found a way to get them off without getting them killed. He could have just handed it to the U.S. and let the U.S. do whatever they wanted with it. I will also say the U.S. were perfectly happy to blow up that sub with everyone on it without questioning anything.
Yeah.
It's just our main character.
That's true.
Who was like, that's bad.
Okay, I have a related question.
This is stupid.
I have a related question to this. If your buddy who you trained with and who you like hanging out with was Marco on this sub, would you very easily chase him down and blow him up?
I mean, if you're trained and you think alike, but you're still loyal. Gotta understand, too, he didn't get any context for why the guy was leaving.
Right. If Matthew, if you take off in a sub or a camper van, I don't think I'm going to chase you down and shoot you down. I'm going to let you go.
Yeah.
But you have no loyalty to anything. It's a distinct difference.
Wow.
Yeah, but if the camper van or the sub that I was in had a nuclear warhead, you might be more willing, and technology that you owned that you didn't want what you thought was the bad people to get, then you might actually chase me down.
Yeah. I mean, from that perspective, right? It's quite literally someone you thought was your friend betrayed you and everything you believed in to go hand a weapon of mass destruction over to your enemy.
Yeah, like Olen, even if you had a nuclear warhead, just you being you, not in a movie, I would be tracking you down and having a team come and getting it away.
Olen, you with 2 keys? I don't know, man.
Fun fact, though, the submarines did not run on that 2-key system.
I have 2 keys.
That is not how that works.
2 keys and long arms. Click, click.
Yeah, 2 keys and long arms.
It's 3 keys to a safe with some sort of decryption tool, I believe, that each 3 officers have to both put unique passwords into.
Nerds.
It's way harder.
I like how much Sean knows about submarines. I'm glad this is good. This is good context. I hadn't thought of it that way with assuring that his crew wouldn't die. So it's a good point.
I have an obsession with, I was going to say submarines, but really it's like naval combat. I love movies about naval combat and stuff, anything along that. Ships, subs, whatever.
Oh, yeah. I've known you a long time.
So, Sean, is this the best sub movie?
I know. This is the best.
Is this the best, Sean?
Probably. I think so.
Good. So one thing that shocked me in this movie was the idea that there were 58 nuclear subs in the water at one time. So I looked it up. There's 502 active subs today. Russia has the most with 65. The US has 64. China has 61. And everyone else has chump change, like just a couple for show. But there's 150 in the water at any given time. Isn't that unbelievable?
It's kind of terrifying. But
It's horrifying.
I wish Canada had about 67.
we have 6 in a dry dock being repaired for the last 50 years.
And I think, how many do we have in the West Edmonton Mall?
We have at least one.
We're really good at buying broken ones and then keeping them in dry dock forever.
Okay, Sean, did you read the book?
I have not read the book.
Are you a Tom Clancy fan? Anybody here a Tom Clancy fan?
I don't know that I would call myself a Tom Clancy fan. I've read a lot of Tom Clancy books over the years, but more because I feel like I should as a fan of that sort of stuff.
I've recently watched the Jack Ryans that have been out in the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
I just did it like a couple of weeks ago. Went through the first 3 seasons, I think, and it was enjoyable with the dude from The Office in it.
Yeah. No, that was good.
John Krasinski.
I enjoyed that show, especially season 1.
Yep. I thought it was pretty good. So I was going to ask you guys, who do you think has been the best Jack Ryan in history? There's Alec Baldwin, Harrison Ford, Ben Affleck, Chris Pine, and John Krasinski.
I think John Krasinski.
I would agree.
I liked John Krasinski. I also liked Harrison Ford.
Yeah, he's good. He's good in everything, though.
The problem with Harrison Ford is he's almost too cool to be Jack Ryan. Jack Ryan's supposed to be an analyst.
Yeah,
Who gets dragged into stuff.
that's true.
Okay, would any of you go on a submarine?
No,
No. I want to say yes, but no.
absolutely not.
In real life, if you go on those things, they're so tiny. That's one of the things I was thinking of frequently in this movie is the amount of space it looked like they had is not how it would be.
I would.
No,
I
I was thinking that too.
would like to have a little ride in one. Yeah.
I would.
If we're talking like going in a little submarine to go down and explore the ocean, I would be down. If we're talking like be on a military submarine as my career for months on a time, no.
No, I wouldn't do that. But if there was a military sub and you could like get on it and tootle out into the water for a couple of hours and come back, I'd totally.
Tootling. The old tootling
I
sub.
do not. Yeah, that's all that the Red October was doing. It was tootling to the United States. No, going on a sub is my worst nightmare.
Well, according to the internet, there's been over 60 subs lost with full crew.
Yeah,
believe
exactly.
That's not a fun way to go. But I would
No.
I would do it.
No, but I kind of like it when billionaires go that way.
When I heard about that, when they were going down, when they were saying like we're looking for the sub, I was like, what are they looking for? Like you think they're stuck at the bottom of the ocean? They just ran out of power and they're just sitting there waiting to get craned up. That's not what happened.
Matthew, do you prefer Sean Connery or Too Old or Pure Gold Sean?
I like them both in their own unique ways.
Okay.
There you go. Nice diplomatic answer.
Good diplomacy.
Wow. Clef, if you were on a submarine and the captain went crazy like that, would you mutiny?
I probably would, which is why I would die first.
Clef, you'd be popular on a sub.
I'd be a good time. Yeah,
You'd be the good time gal.
be a good time for the first few days that I'd probably start wearing on people, honestly.
Okay, Matthew, what is your favorite Russian-based Too Old or Pure Gold movie? Is it this, White Knights, Red Heat, or Firefox?
White Knights.
Sean, would you care to weigh in?
I've only been on Firefox, so this. Oh, no. Yeah, no, Firefox. I think that's the only one.
Okay.
Firefox made me want to die.
Okay, so then let me ask you, Sean, is this the movie Firefox but in water?
This is Firefox couldn't even dream of being this movie.
Do you think this movie would have been better if they refueled the sub from an airplane in the Arctic?
Yes.
Okay. I had a lot of questions.
Refuel our nuclear submarine. That would have been...
Matthew, how was Marco's Russian?
It was all bad. And Sean Connery, Sean Connery doing his... it's just so hard. I find it so hard for Sean Connery's accent representing a Russian guy. He was like a Glaswegian Gorbachev.
I did think that as much as I do love Sean Connery, and I really do, I feel like you could have found a kick-ass Russian actor to do that role.
Definitely. I mean, they clearly, I think that once they did the switch in the language, once they did that changeover, I realized what they were doing, which was like creating a world in order to tell this story. And so then I was able to suspend my belief and let just Sean Connery be a thespian, let him be like an actor, really sell the character and sell that sort of stage play element to it.
I am glad they just had him be him and they didn't try and make him do a Russian accent for the whole movie.
Or speak Russian the whole time.
Both would have been rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do hate it when they do that, make people have fake accents. Okay, let's talk about the best parts of this movie. And I'm going to shout out that I really enjoyed the sub battle. And I have to give it to McTiernan, the director, for making a sub battle exciting, because I could not visualize how you're going to make a sub battle exciting, but it was.
I liked the sub battle. I thought that Jack Ryan landing the helicopter on the sub and botching that, I thought that was a really cool scene. I also really liked when that analyst, when he figured out the path of the Red October. I thought that was a cool scene.
I think
cool angle.
The navigation of those subs seems terrifying, and the idea that they seem very blind, like I know they've got instruments, but they seem very blind, and the idea that two giant subs can be next to each other and not know it, crazy.
Absolutely.
Sean, is that all accurate?
To a degree.
It's kind of scary to think about, right? There's the whole ocean out there, and you might not know that Caterpillar drive is like right behind you.
The movie takes a lot of liberties with how things would really function in terms of submarines and sonar and all that. And for the most part, I think they do it for wise reasons to make it more exciting and interesting, but there's some liberties. Like in the beginning, the scene where they use the Caterpillar drive and the singing would have been enough to keep track of it.
Really? Because I looked it up. Could you hear people singing on a submarine underwater? And the answer was no.
Interesting.
But who knows? It's the internet.
My understanding is that you can hear that because that's the whole like silent running, right? Where everyone, you don't have to be whisper quiet like they like to do in the movies. But
God, can you imagine if you had beans for dinner and then you put on the silent drive, like just...
I mean, think about what they're hearing with the silent drive, right? They're actually hearing the reactor. That's the sound they're making out.
Flatulence on a sub must be horrible.
That's tootling around.
That's tootling around. That is worthy of mutiny. Okay, any worst parts?
Yeah, I just don't like submarine movies. So, Clef, you're talking about a number of angles. It's submarine noir. It's dimly lit. It's claustrophobic. It's slow in places. I think some scenes feel like a military PowerPoint presentation with better lighting and Connery's accent. Like, as much as I love Connery, and I really did like the slick language translation, that early trick that just turned it into English mid-sentence, because that was like a kind of a classy move. I'd like to think that maybe they did that when they realized that Connery couldn't do a Russian accent to save his life, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Oh shit, how do we do this?"
So I don't even think you try with someone with that accent.
And so, yeah, I mean, this wasn't a terrible movie. It's these types of movies just aren't my favorite, right? So,
I think that's fair.
So, at a very quick glance, with no proper research, so take it with a grain of salt, it seems like it's a singing probably wouldn't have enough resonance through the hole to be detectable. But if you dropped like a wrench or something, you would pick that up.
Clangety clang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep, that would get rubber wrenches. Only thing I had for worst part is life on a submarine. We already talked about that, but there's no way I'm getting a bunk that fits me. Being that tight all the time. I'm actually not a claustrophobic person. Like I could crawl through a tight pipe and long distance, no problem. But life on a submarine doesn't seem good. I like fresh air.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about being underwater, being that far deep, and being in a pressurized cabin that's, on the outside, you've got multiple atmospheres of pressure. Something about that just absolutely terrifies me.
It's so weird, those military subs don't have any windows.
You don't want windows on your sub at that depth.
Look, it's a fish.
I do.
Distinctly, you don't want it. It's funny because it's also kind of like a scene I love, but the when he's chasing the cook and they go into that room, I don't know what the room's supposed to be, but it's so giant and it's like multi-stories high, and you're like...
It's like a warehouse. You're right. I didn't notice that at the time, but you're right.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we just have a warehouse on our submarine.
3 stories high.
Yeah, exactly.
Sean, that's a nice segue to favorite lines, and one of my favorite lines was that scene where he said, Ryan, some things in here don't react well to bullets. And Ryan said, yeah, like me, I don't react well to bullets.
Though that I like that quote too, because he's also doing a make fun of Sean Connery accent.
No, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I for favorite lines, I get a great deal of entertainment out of the politician who goes, listen, I'm a politician, which means I'm a cheat and a liar, and when I'm not kissing babies, I'm stealing the lobby at Pops. But it also means I keep my options open.
Very strange one for me. He said he's a legend in the submarine community. And what I liked about that is just imagining a submarine community. Okay, I get it. There's probably thousands of people and there is a submarine community, but I'm just trying to visualize it in my head. What do you do at submarine parties? Like, do you turn the lights out and just go to a very small hall?
I liked the Russians don't take a dump, son, without a plan. That has 90s military dad energy.
Oh, speaking of that, did you guys notice that there was a roll of toilet paper in the middle of the console on the submarine?
No, I did not catch that.
On the Houston, when the two guys were there trying to find the Red October, right in the middle of the console is a roll of toilet paper, like on a roll. Okay,
that's interesting. The other for Jack Ryan, great quotes to himself. I liked when he was on the helicopter and he goes, "Next time, Jack, write a goddamn memo."
Olen, do you know why Red October is called Red October?
No, I just assumed it was painted red and launched in October.
October Revolution.
The October Revolution.
They tell you in the movie.
I know. I was just saying.
And you knew he wouldn't know.
I fell asleep halfway.
Whenever anyone's talking about history, Owen's like, "Where's the pew pew pew? Where are the boobies and guns?"
Yeah, not one woman in this movie.
Well, there were no women on submarines back then, dude.
No women in Russia.
Maybe we can do the remake, all women.
And for a change, they had the better deal.
I think so.
Okay, well, why don't we... Well, okay, another favorite line. I wish I'd seen Montana. I did like that. But... Well,
that made me sad.
Well, I loved his view of what a good life was. It was an RV living in Montana and a pickup truck and a round wife.
A round wife.
Specifically.
Maybe a second wife in Arizona.
Okay, so according to Box Office Mojo worldwide, The Hunt for Red October was the 6th highest earning movie at the box office in 1990. Home Alone was the leader at the box office in 1990, and this movie was beat by Ghost, Pretty Woman, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Hunt for Red October also did beat a bunch of great films in this year, including Total Recall, Die Hard 2, and Too Old or Pure Gold favorite Jacob's Ladder. So All of that feels kind of about right to me, except for the Ninja Turtles. I find that odd that beat this movie, but Driving
Kids and franchises and stuff.
Driving Miss Daisy was the Best Picture winner this year, and I would definitely rather watch Hunt for Red October. Hunt for Red October was nominated and lost for Best Sound Mixing and Film Editing. It did win an Oscar for Best Sound Effects. Ping! And for context,
One ping only.
For context, Jeremy Irons won the Best Actor for Reversal of Fortune this year, and I just found it odd that Sean Connery didn't even get nominated because it was pretty good.
I will add, this is an odd time, but I will add, I actually really like the music in this movie.
I was thinking that too. I thought it was really well scored.
Yeah.
Okay, by the numbers. Budget was $30 million. That feels about right. I think we know it was successful, but do you know how successful? Who wants to guess at the budget?
Like 30 million.
So you think it broke even?
Oh, I mean, I think it made a lot of money.
Okay, well, budget was 30.
Oh, okay.
Not been doing well on this.
Oh, maybe 150.
Okay, good guess. Sean?
I'm going to go 100.
Matthew?
99.9.
Okay, 200 million. So,
Ooh.
Clef, you were actually closest.
This is what you get for going Price is Rice rules on me.
So for Rotten Tomatoes, for today, I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to give you guys a hint, which is that critic score and audience score is exactly the same.
Oh.
Oh.
So who would like to guess that number?
75.
I feel like if this movie was dad cinema and if it was a lot of dads watching it, I could see a consensus to a higher number. I'll give it an A minus, like an 85.
86.
Matthew, you
Wow.
just prices righted him. It's 88.
88. Wow.
Clef, I thought you were going to nail it. Matthew has a habit of destroying people in the Rotten Tomatoes game.
Ooh, that's smarts.
I thought I would be like in the rarity for liking this movie, so it's nice to be wrong.
Yeah, really interesting. 88 and 88, so critics and audience. I mean, this movie was universally loved. And, you know, in the day, I told you in the day it was too boring for me. But now that I am that middle-aged dad, I appreciate this movie.
You're way beyond middle-aged, dude.
And again, noting we're the same age.
Well, then again, your dad's getting up there. You might actually be almost middle-aged.
I'm in the middle of Sean and my dad.
There you go.
I'm in the middle of somebody. Okay, just to note, this is not Sean Connery's best movie according to Rotten Tomatoes. He had some weird one called Darby O'Gill in 1959 that was his 100%. But he's got Goldfinger at 99, From Russia with Love with 97, Dr. No at 95. So those are all rated better. And I kind of feel like I love those movies, but I think he was a better actor here. He has 9 films ranked higher than this on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's really sad that he went out with his last film as A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which got a 16.
I mean, that was a bad movie.
And because I'm a Sean Connery fan, I'm going to say his last great movie was The Rock.
Oh, The Rock is an amazing movie.
Rock is a great movie.
I've not seen it.
Oh, I can't wait to do it and let Matthew watch it. There's a lot of good science in that
Well,
movie.
when was it made?
1996.
The Rock.
Yep.
Is it about
Like a prison escape movie with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, Alcatraz. I was thinking
It had like anal beads of death. That's how I describe it.
What,
Sean knows what
Anal
I'm talking
Beads of
about.
Death. So is this on YouPorn?
I was going to say, what the hell? And then I thought for a moment, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I'm right. Okay, let's get rolling with this. Some movie trivia. So this is Tom Clancy's first novel. It became a massive bestseller in 1984 after President Ronald Reagan was spotted carrying the book. Sean Connery spent time underwater aboard the USS Puffer preparing for his role. He was given commander status and allowed to give commands while underwater with the real captain beside him. This is interesting.
Cool.
The fighter, the plane that crashed on the flight deck, which I don't really know what it had to do with the movie, but that was actual stock footage of a F-9F Panther test flight in 1951 that crashed.
I mean, it was cool. That's what it had to do with the movie.
It looked real to me.
Yeah. Navy recruiters set up booths in theater lobbies hoping this movie would do for the submarine service what Top Gun did for the Naval Aviation Service.
Oh.
It did.
Did it?
And then it did not. It told everybody, like, I don't want to be on a sub. That looks really awful. It's because they didn't have that volleyball scene that Top Gun had. That's why everybody was sold on Top Gun.
Maybe in the remake.
So Kevin Costner turned down the role of Jack Ryan in order to make Dances with Wolves. He probably would have been better. Tommy Lee Jones was considered for Captain Bart Mancuso. He would have been good.
I really liked Scott Glenn.
And the only rumor I could find for Marco was that they did consider Max von Sydow, who would have been fine. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that dude.
Woke or joke, anything that doesn't age well. I had depiction of Russians. And
Well, there's no overt sexism because it's a sausage fest, but...
Yeah, total submarine party.
But I also said governments lying and risking war.
I mean, is that woke?
That's not woke, and that's not woke or joke. That's just fact.
Yeah.
Maybe a little.
Okay.
I think
establishment, maybe.
what's the diversity report? Were there many black guys on the sub?
Yeah.
Yeah,
there was James Earl Jones. There was the.
Yeah.
The diversity
No,
report. That sounds like a TV show.
No, I didn't see any real issues with this. It was a bunch of naval guys in a sub.
I mean, the things you'd have to take issues with would. I mean, it's. I feel like that constant fight between historical accuracy and.
Yeah.
Right? Do you find a way to add women to it, even though they wouldn't have been on subs?
No, I'd rather just see it the way it was. Okay, let's hear what people thought of this. So however you guys felt about this movie, I promise you there are those who liked it more or less than you. This movie had a whopping 90 10-star reviews out of 396 total. So this movie is still as good on the 10th view, the best techno thriller ever made, and the best of the Tom Clancy adapted novels. The Hunt for Red October is nearly perfect. Another reviewer says, let's talk about the things that make this a classic. Good acting, great scripts, beautiful cinematography, and great pacing. Another reviewer calls this the thinking man's James Bond. And Clef, this review says, great movie, fast paced, and before Alec Baldwin went insane.
Well, teach their own.
And I wonder what was going on in this guy's life, because he says, I remember watching this film in a Scottish hotel, and I watched it 20 times in a few days. Wow.
Over and over.
Okay, well, let's hear from people who liked it less. There were only 4 1-star reviews compared to the 396 10-star reviews, which seems to me to be a consensus that this was a great rewatchable movie. Sean, someone complains about the accuracy. This movie is all BS. I'm a 20-year submarine vet. I don't know where to start. Second class manning sonar, laughable.
What? I mean, I get it. But also, that's a funny one to pick as your complaint in the movie.
It is.
Dork.
I'll also tell you the Russian attack submarine, I'm forgetting its class, which is upsetting, doesn't have anything but officers on it. If you want to really get nitpicky, but...
I don't, just the haters. Now, I feel like this reviewer didn't give the movie a fair shot. He says... I had to fast forward the complete movie. Sitting 2 hours to finish this was unbearable. Thankfully, I'm watching it on fast forward and not in the theater in 1990.
See, you can't do a review if you're just watching it on fast forward. That's like people who are like, oh, I picked up this book, but then like it's just a terrible book. Well, you know what?
Totally.
The very last sentence in a book can actually make the book for you, right? So I don't think he shouldn't be allowed to review if he's watching it on FFW.
The same reviewer said, who's interested in the Cold War? Waste of time. Thankfully, I watched it in half an hour. That's 4 times fast forward. It would not be the same.
Who's interested in the Cold War? Well, you know what, buddy? Welcome to the new Cold War again.
This is one of the most ridiculous and confusing movies I've ever seen in my life due to having way too many plot holes, which makes the movie totally unwatchable. I stopped counting all the plot holes after 30 in the first hour. It's funny how the submarine can outmaneuver every torpedo as if it's some sort of F-16 flying in the air. The movie made about as much sense as a Roadrunner cartoon. You might like it if you're not very smart, though. Ouch.
Rude.
Didn't have to
Yeah, I did like that Alec Baldwin got put into such an important role, when he got sat down in front of, turn the ship to 315. I mean, that's a pretty pivotal role, no pun intended.
It's also an easy one. Turn the dial. Like, oh, you're a dumbass. Just turn this dial. You got it.
Turn the dial.
He said how, and Marco said, here, turn it to 315. It's like setting an oven, idiot.
Also, that made me think, this is like best and worst scene when Jack Ryan is like near the beginning of the movie where he's walking with Admiral Greer and is like, you're giving the briefing to everyone.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? That's my nightmare. Given no warning, you're sat down with all the people who control whether or not you have a job.
Oh, that has happened to me in my job, Sean. That must have happened to you at your job.
Oh, for sure. It doesn't mean I like it.
Does happen, but I'd still prefer that to going on a submarine.
Walking down the hall with your boss who says, like, you know what? I've decided you can give this presentation. Yeah, thank you. Okay, let's ask the professionals, Siskel and Ebert. So Ebert called it a slick, intelligent version of the best-selling novel. He said the performances of Connor and Baldwin gave a strong center to the film. He said that while the book is complex, they did a good job in the movie of making it understandable. He referred to it as a smart thriller. I agree that they did a good job of making it understandable. I do get confused by some of these complicated movies, but this one was good. Siskel called out the role of Alec Baldwin, saying it was a career maker for him, and they both gave it a thumbs up. So I guess this question doesn't make sense. Does it deserve a remake, prequel, or sequel? We all know that they did a whole bunch of, I guess, sequels to this. This was the first introduction of Jack Ryan, followed by Patriot Games in 1992, Clear and Present Danger in 94, The Sum of All Fears in 2002, Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit in 2014, and then the most recent one in 2023. Okay, that is The Hunt for Red October. Let's wrap this up. Is this movie too old or pure gold?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm still a little on the fence with this one. I lean towards gold because I feel the authenticity of its place in the history of movies. If I think about 90s cinema, I knew about this movie. I knew Sean Connery's character from this movie very iconically, even though I hadn't seen it. So there were a lot of things about it that I thought were enjoyable, and I see its place. So I'll say gold.
Sean, not Connery. What did you think?
I think it's pure gold. I mean, it's got flaws, but I think for what it's trying to do, it finds a good balance between trying to be real and trying to actually be entertaining to people like you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving it a pure gold. If you can make a 135-minute movie entirely about submarines and make it interesting enough that I can get through the whole movie and enjoy it, I think it's gold.
And I think, this is one of the movies where it's just not my type of movie, but I think for what it is and for people who like this type of movie, it's good. So I'm going to say it's pure gold, even though I never liked it.
Oh, great. Very well done.
I love it.
Okay, well, this was a fun episode. Thanks, all of you, for joining. Clef, would you like to plug your music? Get our listeners to patronize Clef Seeley.
Hey, absolutely. Yeah, check out Clef Seeley on Spotify, on all the streaming apps. My music is out there now. I released an album on April 2nd, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's getting good reception. So, yeah, check it out. Left Coast, Clef Seeley.
Matthew, anything to plug?
Get your prostate checked.
Good idea.
Sean, do you want to plug your submarine repair business?
No, I had to let it slide in this economy. It fell through.
That's fair. Okay, thanks, guys. Fun episode. I will see you when I see you.
Bye.